Welcome, everyone, and we are in day 2 of Stimulate Your Business. If you are someone who owns your own business, thinking about starting your own business, here's a way of looking at your business really in a very different light. It's not just about having a good business plan and marketing plan. It really is beyond that. We really are going to need to bring in other tools, and this is where I come in. I'm Kathleen Zemansky. I'm a business feng shui master, astrologer, and the creator of the TimeBlazr business management system. And what we're going to be doing in this 3-week program, we're about a week and a half into it, and we've got another week and a half to go. But I'll tell you how to get all that information if you are new to the community. But what we're going to be doing is the yin and yang of a smart business model. And that means that you do everything that needs to be done as far as your logistics, your marketing business plan, reaching out to your clients. And I'm going to help you with the inside, which is the more metaphysical side. And this system has been used for centuries by the affluent, by governments, and why not you? So what I would love to do right now is ask you where you are listening in from. I know I'm getting a lot of people from Europe and other places in the world, and I thank you for joining us live. And if you are seeing us a little bit later, still let us know where you're coming in from. And here is another thing that I would like for you to do is absolutely sign up for the program, which is a free program right now at bit.ly/stimulate your business, and make sure you hit that confirming your email. Otherwise, you're not going to get some of the important details that you would be getting. So we need you to not only opt in, we need you to confirm it all the way through. And then, you may want to check your spam folder, whitelist us, do all of the smart business things that you need to do to get the information that you have requested. Okay. All right. So today we are going to be getting into the challenging parts of the feng shui dial. But just as a review, I want to let you know, for those of you who are new to the community, again, welcome. We're so happy that you're here. And for those of you who have been following me for several years, 20 plus years, as well as just during the series, welcome back again today. But for those of you who need to catch up, which I strongly advise you doing, is we've created a playlist called Stimulate Your Business on YouTube. So just head on over there after today's presentation to get caught up. So I'm breaking it down in kind of 3 weeks and building on everything that we are talking about. So I started week 1 with astrology. Just go back and look at, and I really advise you to look at all of them. For those of you who have been following along with me, you probably have started to understand that it's just not about what's in your astrology chart, but it's also important what's in other people, as well as how does that astrology interface with the feng shui. And of course, next week when we start talking about favorable timing, which truthfully we're going to start this on Friday, is all of the animals are going to have a significance. So you're going to want to know what all of the animals are doing, and they're just short videos that you can watch on that. Another way that you can find those is Alice, my assistant, has also set up a 2021 playlist, and it's like animal forecasts or something. Alice, if you can put that into all of the chats, that would help me as well, because I can't remember exactly all of the different names that we have right off the top of my head. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. And so let's just kind of start sharing the screen here and let's get started. So like I said, today we're on day 8. And we are going to be doing this is my mid-year review, where I am talking about, how the metal ox is going to be affecting you for the rest of the year. Now, this year is going to be going by quite rapidly, as you can see, but we know for certainty that we've got a lot of challenges ahead of us within this year. It is a murky year. It's a messy year. You've probably seen it in your own life, in your business, relationships, health. And so this is where I feel I can help you at least navigate. Knowledge is power. If you at least know that this is why things are happening, it really will help you make a better plan on how to get through some of the challenging times. So, you know, it's very easy to ride the wave of, oh, everything's going going really well, and you don't have to think about these things. But I would really even challenge that way of thinking as well, because if you've got some good things happening this year, this is not a save for later type of program. This is do it now, get it done, and get some cash flow into your bank account. So what I am going to actually start out with is a few comments that have come through just in the last couple of days. And if you have a comment or a question, please put them either on the Facebook feed or the YouTube, in this particular, just kind of choose the day that you're tuning in on, because we're going to try to keep it relevant to what I'm talking about in any particular time. So what I'm asking for you to do is, actually, let me just go full screen here right now. What I'm asking you to do, for you to invest your time, because time is money. So if you're going to invest your time to be watching this, and congratulations to all of you who are doing that, what I would say is, let's really do it. And that means you are going to be coming up with a plan to launch something within these 3 weeks that we had started. Now, if you're just starting today, you got a week and a half, and I'm telling you, if you really want to do this, there's no time like the present, right? You know that old adage, plant the to get an oak tree, plant the seed 20 years ago. Well, you know what? 20 years is gone. Don't wait another minute to take action. Plant the seed now and get it going. So what I'm asking all of you to do that are watching, or even if you're watching on the replay 2 months from now, don't wait. Really go ahead and get something started. Now, the TimeBlazr piece is not going to be as relevant, but all of this other stuff is. But I'll tell you how you're going to get access to the TimeBlazr no matter when you're going to be watching. But what I would like to discuss with you is, what is it that you are going to do and launch by next week? That's why this is not a save for later kind of video. It's like, let's take action now. So I have suggested things like start a small program, especially if you're one of those people that have been impacted by world events that have happened in the last year and a half. Then I would suggest that you start doing some discovery calls, maybe do a flash sale that you're going to be lowering the prices just to get some business in there. Let's get in, like figure out what your monthly, bills are. And if you're a little bit behind on them and you're putting everything on a credit card, maybe a better strategy would be, let's kick it up and see what we can do. So this might be the month where you're going to be putting a flash sale on coaching programs. You're going to create a program and leverage things that you already have. That would be one of the most brilliant things you can do with something that you've already created. Now, if you're starting something new, then there's a lot of different ways in which you can make money. Really, you can become affiliates with people, you can sell other people's products. There's a lot of different things that you can do. You have to start thinking creatively outside of the box, and there are going to be certain animals that are going to be more apt and beneficial to be able to do that. So that's the point of this program, is to really help you. And then if you want to go a little bit deeper with me, which I hope some of you are really on that track of like, yes, this is really going to be the thing that's going to help me, I'll tell you a little bit about that a little bit later on in the program. But not today. We're just focusing on you today. All right. So Eleanor said that she, for accountability, I'm asking you, and please do this today if you haven't done so already, because I really want to see how this is all going to go for you. So she's planning and writing a mini course to launch with this training. So that is wonderful, Eleanor. And really what I would love for you to, everyone to do, is to start thinking about outside of this program, putting into your calendar the time to do that. So just, saying that you're going to do it is one thing, but that is the first good step, is getting those those ideas in writing. And so, Eleanor, we are going to keep you accountable for that, that we are going to see a launch program. I can't wait to hear and see what you're going to be doing on that. And really interesting. Thank you. I love how you keep adding in more layers for us. And this is really the point of why I'm doing it this way, because truthfully, sometimes when you get all of this information and you get it all at once, it can be a little much. That's why I'm spreading it out over 3 weeks, so they're building blocks. And again, if you're just jumping in, don't worry about it. You can start where you're at right now, and let's just get going. And then we have a new viewer, at least to me, Nathalie, that says, "This was great. Thank you. I'm from London, UK, and I'm looking forward to finding out more how to use the annual compass." So you jumped in at a really good time. So we did the positive energies yesterday. Today we're talking about the challenging. And just so you know, tomorrow we are going to be starting talking about the Flying Star. And then Happy Hands, thank you for the thank you. That was nice of you to do a post. And also, you guys, if I could also have you do just one more thing, is to let's help each other. Could you share your post, share these videos with your community, and just maybe put a comment like, "Hey, this is a program that I'm doing. It's absolutely complimentary. Kathleen's giving some great tips to help us build our business. Why don't you tune in?" And then you could either do that and put in the bit.ly/stimulate your business. Alice and I have put our heart and souls into this program for you, and we're just asking for a little bit of support from you so we can continue to do programs like this. We love doing these, and we love building our community with like-minded people like yourselves. So we need your help to spread the word for us, though. That would be amazing if you could do that. And we thank you so much in advance. All right, here's our feng shui dial. Like I said yesterday, we did speak about the green areas, so just go back and look at those for what we're going to be, what we talked about yesterday. But today we're going to talk about some of the negative feng shui. Now, there's a difference between feng shui and flying star. They still are looking at a space spatially, but this is now looking at, we're taking those animals that we talked about in week 1, how they have a feng shui significance to the annual compass dial. And so what we're going to be talking about today is the ox and the goat. And I'm going to, throw in just a little bit more about the dragon today. But tomorrow we're going to be talking about, but we will be talking about the 3 killings today. I'm going to talk about that as well. But I do want to let you know that we are also talking about the flying star tomorrow, which will be it's more of a numerology, if you will, that every year these numbers shift, and then you're going to get a little bit different read on each one of these particular areas. So let's just talk about the feng shui of the ox. So let's just talk about the dial, then we'll look again at a floor plan on how it would be showing up. And then I'm also going to be talking about tomorrow. Just know I'm going to talk about how you might be adjusting these areas. Now, first of all, these 2 areas that I'm going to be talking about predominantly today, which is the Grand Duke and the Year Breaker. And again, these happen every year. They're only there for a year. And really, one of my first recommendations to you is just try to avoid spending a lot of time in that area. Even if you have an ox, even if you have a goat in your chart, especially if you're a beginner, there are applications that you can use, especially for the Grand Duke, to help you, but it's really actually high risk. So some of the things that I really want to tell you about the Grand Duke is that you can expect some significant changes and challenges. And so there's going to be obstacles that if you choose to put yourself in that vibration. So Remember when I was talking about the front door, when we were talking yesterday about that's the antenna to your building? Well, truthfully, your body's an antenna as well. It is a receptor of energy. And when you start thinking about, oh, if I position my body in a certain direction, I can actually start manipulating the energy of a room or a space that I'm in, even if you're outside, by sitting in a certain direction. And you'll find that on your astrology chart. Go look at where it says personal power directions, and that's in the lower like right hand side of my astrology chart. I didn't pull up the astrology today, but today I just want you to know that that is an accessible way for you to start thinking about it. So if you have in one of your positive directions northeast one or northeast, it's not going to go into northeast one, northeast two. It's just going to say northeast or southwest. I'm going to ask you to not face directly into northeast one within this red dial, or the these degrees right here, or the southwest one, which is the goat, the year breaker. It's okay for you to face the mountain direction, the tiger direction, the earth direction, or the monkey direction, but I wouldn't want you to be facing direct to the Grand Duke, because that is too powerful of an energy, as well as the year breaker. It's too powerful of an energy for you to be facing. But for everyone else who does not have that on their astrology chart, I still would not be facing either of those directions, but those are a couple of directions that you're going to have to avoid this year, 2021, because and all you have to do is pull up your phone, pull up a digital compass, and then just sit right at your computer. Remember, I was telling you, you need to calibrate your phone if you haven't used your compass dial in a while, and just pull up compass. And in most smartphones they are already programmed in as a free app. On the iPhone it's going to look like that. And again, you just calibrate it and then just sit. You could measure the desk directly, your computer screen, or things like that. In what direction are you facing? Is it one of those good power directions? But what I'm trying to say is you want to stay out of the red zone when you are setting up your office space. But if you are in that sector, remember we talked about how fabulous the tiger was and how you could also use the monkey yesterday. Well, within the northeast, we've got two animals. They're subcardinals. This is a subcardinal direction. So there's two animals that we can tap into. So we're just going to avoid 100% being in that ox if we can. So what do you do if you've got an office suite and you've got the room that you decided to rent within a larger building? It's all in the southeast. Again, try to get more over into the tiger direction and into the mountain direction. Now, it would be kind of risky to move a large piece of furniture at this point, because that would activate the space. So what I might suggest instead is maybe taking a small setup as like a chair or something like that, and use your laptop, tablet, or your phone to do most of your work. But that is something that I would prefer that you do, is you be sitting in a more vibrant zone. Now, with that said, if you're already in it, you may find that there are some pretty dramatic changes that have happened for you this year if you're sitting in the Grand Duke. But again, if you're sitting in it and not facing those directions, so sector is one thing, that's location. Let's just say you are located in the northeast sector, but just don't face those degrees. Let me take you for another example. You could be sitting in the southwest, but you decided to face your desk. You just don't want it to face directly into the northeast. You want to face one of these sectors over here. All right. So if you are in the northeast, again, try to get into more of the green versus the red. Now, the same is true for the year breaker. Now, the year breaker, it has been said that if that gets activated, it can actually be more complicated, if you will, than the Grand Duke. So it can have more, I'm going to say, catastrophic outcomes that, it's going to touch financial, relationships, health. So you really want to be very careful about disturbing the Southwest one, which is the goat sector. And remember, if you have a goat in your chart, you go back and listen to what the implications are of the goat. But remember, the goat's already going to be spending some money. It's already got, some things that are going to be challenging if you have a goat in your chart. But if you don't, you still have to abide by the laws of the annual Feng Shui, which is avoid that area. And when I mean disturbing, I mean that I want you to not be looking at moving big, heavy pieces of furniture. Like if you're just moving, I don't know, something small, you could definitely, just be moving, a small chair or something like that. But if you're going to be moving a heavy desk or a heavy armoire, and things like that, that would be disturbing. Another would be hanging up a picture, a piece of artwork on the wall. If you're banging into a wall, you are disturbing. So this would be renovations and things like that. Now, for someone who is a contractor or an interior designer, it's like, well, hey, I've got this whole kitchen remodel going on right now. Well, hopefully you started the kitchen project or the house or whatever. You started it on a good day and time, and you triggered the energy using these particular better areas. Then you just continue the project because the project has been initiated. But I'm also concerned about what is directly on your property and even on someone else's property if it's affecting the southwest one sector or the northeast one, and it's outside of the building and there's disturbance there, then this will also affect what is happening in your business, in your personal life. So you really have to be careful. Now, I'm going to say I would go as far as if I'm going to be planting and the soil is very easy to dig into because it's, very nice aerated soil. Like where I live, I almost have to take a pickaxe to dig into the ground. We have just this sort of clay-like um, uh, land on our property. So it is not one that, there are certain areas where I've amended the soil, and so that's easier to dig in. So if you're planting a small flower, something like that, fine. But if you're planting a large tree where you have to dig down several feet or a meter or so and wide, that is disturbing the land. So you have to be very discerning about what is actually disturbing the land. But banging on the wall where you're actually driving a nail into a wall, which means you're breaking the earth. This is when homes were actually built with plaster and elements from the land. This is kind of very different than what building materials are today. They're even doing 3D structures where, everything is, plastics and recyclable products and things like that. You're still disturbing the area. So do heed my advice when I'm saying just err on the side of caution. Abundance of caution. That's the new catchphrase that they're using this year on many on many circumstances. So take an abundance of caution and avoid hanging artwork, moving big pieces of furniture in these areas. Now, what do you do if accidentally something does get disturbed? I talked about this yesterday. This would mean going over to the Southwest 3, the monkey direction, and getting into that area, and that will help mitigate. It depends on how much you've disturbed, what is being disturbed. Like if you've already had some issues, it may come catapulting down. The avalanche has already started, and that's very hard to stop. So this is where you're going to have to really, take somewhat with, where are you at in the disaster zone where things started to go problems. Is this a problem that has just sort of started and you can do something about turning it around? Because again, we can't 100% rely on metaphysics. We also have to rely on our own actions, making good choices, good communication, and things like that. So this is where you have to also start going, oh, I can take care of this now, but if it's something that has been going on for a while and then there's the point of no return, then what is your recovery plan? This is still really where the Southwest 3 can help you if you spend some time there. Okay. All right. So that's really where I want you to understand that can be helping you. All right. So now I want to talk about this concept of what's called the three killings, and the three killings is something that you do have to take note of. Even though we do have these positive, so-called positive areas here. So I really don't want you to disturb too much here either. But the tiger this year has robbery. So if you do end up, this is not spending time here. I'm not talking about this. This is, again, disturbing the area, hanging a piece of artwork, moving a big piece of furniture, digging outside or doing renovations and things like that. Then we have what is called the robbery energy in this area. So what can you do to protect yourself? Make sure that you are very conscious of things like your personal affairs. Make sure that you change your passwords often, because this is where fraud can come in. This is where you want to, maybe you're traveling somewhere and I've seen it no matter where I've traveled in the world. People are very, more protective or take more caution when they're in their daily day-to-day lives. But when they travel, oh, they've got the camera and they're setting their bag down and taking it, and they're not paying attention. And that's where the bad people of the world, unfortunately, will see the opportunity. So do take care of certain situations that you might find yourself in, and just take extra caution. So if it does get disturbed, you can kind of understand that might happen. Okay, the east sector, the entire east sector has the calamity. So we do need to watch out about injuries, relationships, and health issues, and even potential wrongful death. So this is not something to joke around about. So again, we don't want to disturb this. Now tomorrow I'm going to tell you how good this area is from the flying star. And we also have other energies that are playing a nice role there as well. But I'm talking about disturbing the land. You can use the area. You can actually be in that area for the year. We just don't want a lot of disturbance when it comes to renovations and things like that. And then the dragon has what's called the Yersha, and what that involves is a good deal of argument. So do watch how that type of energy could be activated. And as you can see, it also has the 5 yellow going over this, so it has a double whammy. I don't know if that's a colloquial saying or if everybody understands that around the world, but that means double trouble. That is a very, very negative overlay of where the 3 killings and the 5 yellow meet. The 5 yellow really is more of a flying star attribute. I will repeat it tomorrow because it's that important. But when you see it on the Feng Shui dial, that's why I put it on, because it is such a such a strong energy. So the 5 yellow actually does go over the entire southeast. It's not just the dragon, it also is in southeast 2 and southeast 3, which has the snake. So this entire area has what's called the 5 yellow. Now, the 5 yellow is an interesting energy. Again, it's a little bit like the Grand Duke. If you know how to use it, it will come to your advantage. But again, when it gets activated, it is basically catastrophic results. It will touch health, relationships, finances, your emotional, psychological. It really is not a fun one to if you're living the results of that. So you really want to protect the southeast. I personally don't even like spending too much time in the southeast. I think I even mentioned yesterday. I have my desk on wheels, so I can move from various rooms within this building if I want to. So last year the southeast was great, so I moved. That's where my office was last year. I also had good long-term feng shui, which is outside of this program, but I'm just letting you know, when you layer up good energy, it's great. So I moved my desk and office, my main office, and I'll let you know, I'm actually spending most of my time in the east, because it has many layers of good energy, and I'm going to talk about one of them tomorrow. But it does have that 3 killings, and I just know that I needed to do this setup before February 3rd, 2021. Well, we're past that, so we can't really, I mean, I would say you could paint, but if you're doing anything like hanging, pictures and things like that, I would really caution you on doing anything like that. But that's where, and then I'll talk tomorrow when we talk about the flying star. But what I would suggest you start thinking about doing, I'm going to give you um, an opportunity to put metal in a couple of places. And what I mean by metal, we are going to need a lot of metal. But we'll talk about that tomorrow. But you may want to start thinking about, getting in some of those metal weights that, to work out, but you're going to want to leave them there. So if you're not using your weights to work out anyway, maybe it would be a good use of them to help mitigate some of these negative energies. But wait, I will tell you tomorrow exactly where to place them, and I'll even give you a date to when you'll be able to safely put those. Okay, so that is really what I wanted to say about these particular challenging energies. And I'll talk a little bit more about the 5 yellow tomorrow when we go over the entire feng shui, excuse me, flying star dial. But like I said, I think it is so impactful, and not in a positive way, that I put it on my annual feng shui dial as well. Okay, all right. So again, this is our floor plan that we're looking at, and we can see on this particular dial that when I showed that one yesterday, this is actually missing on this particular person's floor plan. So this person doesn't even need to be concerned about the year breaker on the inside of the space, but they do need to be very careful on the exterior of what's happening. And honestly, I really can't remember if this is a courtyard or if this is the other person's, because this is like a townhouse type of situation. And I can't remember if there is another building attached right here or not, or if there's space. Either way, they do not want to have this area disturbed. So if they disturbed it from next door, obviously it touches this building and they will be affected by it, even if it's missing, mostly missing. And then over here, this is where they have the master suite. So they can be in the master suite, but they're not going to get the most benefits. But when you look at a floor plan, you have what you have. I mean, are they going to sleep in the kitchen? I doubt it. So this is where they're going to just be very careful about not doing any outside activations, if you will. they just will be using this room as a sleep room. You know, when you only have one or two rooms to be working with, and this one is also a negative impact, you're going to have to make some choices on your own. What would be the best, unless you reach out to our team, and then we'll, you know, then we can set up more of a consultation type situation for you. But you know, for the DIYers out there, this is just an example, and then you have to look yourself on what is happening. Okay, and again, they really don't have the Southwest 3 to be looking at. Now, another thing that you could do, um, and I actually do this myself, is, you know, this particular room probably has the best energy in it. You could take that dial and shrink it down into what we call the small Tai Chi, where you take the compass and bring it down to just one room. They could do that within each room that they're going to be using, and at least try to find from a micro level. This would be macro, it's over the entire floor plan, and then go down to a smaller level. But again, do watch on the macro. You're not going to be doing any type of activations, because on the larger scheme, this would be where you would not want to do that. Now, with that said, I would, if I was in a office suite where I was in a bigger building and I only had control, because really that's all I have control over is that one room. I don't have control over a larger office building, you know, so then I would use the small Tai Chi and then look at the building that way, or look at my suite that way. All right, so when I was talking about metal, this is what I want you to start thinking about. These are very, 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 very hard to find now. We were very lucky. There was a kind of a going out of business sale several years ago to one of the um, big box stores that was going out of business. That was a sporting store, and they were, you know, literally selling this stuff for a dime. And I ended up just grabbing just a bunch of these because I can use these each and every year. And then here's another idea that you could do is get something that, because you need a lot of metal. And so this is actually looking at, you know, this is 100 pounds of metal here. I'm not sure what that would be in kilos. I'm sorry to the rest of the world. America is so far behind on figuring out metric. So you'll get, just put it in Google, you'll figure it out. And this is where you'd want to put metal in the southeast one. So if you end up becoming my client, I would give you some more specific things to be doing. But on this free level, this is the best that I feel like I can do for you, is just tell you to place metal. And you would place it in the southeast one if you have that depicted in your floor plan. If not, if the southeast one happens to be in an area where you can't even get to access, just put it somewhere else in the southeast. But that's where you would want to put metal this year. Now, here's, you know, a heavy little statue. There's a coffee urn. This table is with a metal frame, and then I actually put some crystals there. And I believe in the 5 element cycle that a crystal, this is my opinion. There are people who will contradict this in the feng shui world, but my opinion is this: if something is as hard as a rock, yes, it is. It's earth that is transforming to metal. So this is where precious metals come from, is the earth, right? It's diamonds and gold and silver and rubies and all of that. So crystals are in that category for me, where you're not going to plant plants on there. Yeah, you might get an air plant on there, but it's not really going to take root. Even though, yes, we've seen the one little ceiling that will crack open a huge boulder, but there's other things at play as well there. So I see that as also a way that you can be using metal. So this is where I would say you could be using that particular element, if you will, for the, you know, the southeast one. So this is where I would say you could be using that particular element, if you will, for the, you know, the southeast one. So this is where I would say you could be using that particular element, if you will, for the, you know, the southeast one. So this is where I would say you could be using that particular element, if you will, for the, you know, the southeast one. So this is where I would say you could be using that particular element, if you will, for the, you know, the southeast one. So this is where I would say you could be using that particular element, if you will, for the, you know, the southeast one. So this is where I would say you could be using that particular element, if you will, for the, you know, the southeast one. So this is where I would say you could be using that particular element, if you will, for the, you know, the southeast one. So this is where I would say you could be using that particular element, if you will, for the, you know, the southeast one. So this is where I would say you could be using that particular element, if you will, for the, you know, the southeast one. So this is where I would say you could be using that particular element, if metal. Metal will help reduce the 5 yellow and that 3 killings, because that's what we want to do. We want to drain that heavy, heavy, challenging energy, and we do that by adding metal. Okay, and just to remind you, the southeast one is here. And so this is where I'd want you to put the metal first, and if not, just put it somewhere in this area, okay? I would also suggest putting metal in the north, but I'll talk a little bit more about that tomorrow when we're talking about the flying star. Okay. All right, so we have a question here from Antoine. Thank you again for your question. So the question is, my entrance is facing north with a general garden in the middle, with apartments facing south in the back of the building. And my prosperity direction is northeast. And you talked about the west. And the reason I wanted to speak about this, so your prosperity direction is in the northeast. So this whole discourse that I had at the beginning of today's program was, yes, you can use the northeast, but let me just go back one slide. Remember, just not facing in this particular area, especially do 30. You just want to stay away from this. You could be facing anywhere in this tiger direction and over here, but do avoid this one because it's probably not going to help you so much this year. And then you talked about the West. And yes, I'm going to talk about the West tomorrow. So just one more day, Antoine, we're going to be talking about the flying star, and the flying star is going to be talking about the West sector. But just a little bit of a spoiler alert, it is talking about prosperity. It is talking about looking at the like current cash flow. So it's going to be more of a discussion for tomorrow. So just hold tight on that one, and we'll talk about that when we get to the flying star tomorrow. And by the way, speaking of that, and I will, I should have said this earlier, but my schedule is a little bit tight for tomorrow. And so instead of coming on at 11:30 a.m. Pacific, I'm going to move it up to noon. I might be back by 11:30, but just in the event that I'm not, I don't want you to think that I'm not coming on. So we'll post it. I'll have Alice post it even tomorrow for those of you who may have missed this piece of it, that I'm coming on at noon Pacific tomorrow. 12 p.m. Pacific tomorrow is when I'll be talking about the flying star, and that one is going to be quite extensive but interesting topics to talk about. Okay, like I said, we're going to be talking about that tomorrow, and let me go over to this other screen and let's see if we have any comments today. Hi, Joy Hewitt Kind from Denver. Thank you for joining us today. I really appreciate it. And Luann, thank you for the butterflies and hearts. I appreciate you commenting. So like I said, if you have any comments, please post them either on Facebook or YouTube. And even if you are listening on the replay, there is no reason why you can't be participating. I understand it might be in the middle of the night for you, but I do thank you for tuning in a timely manner. And if you do, I can answer your questions live on tomorrow's feed. So, do know that that's the way in which, if you want a question answered, it has to be through those two portals. It will either be YouTube or Facebook under the Stimulate Your Business. That's where we'll get your questions answered. And I think that's it for today. Just a reminder, please like, comment, and share this live feed that you've been listening to today. We'd really appreciate it. And then go ahead and sign in at bit.ly/stimulate your business. And it's a two-step process. We are abiding by every regulation possible. So there's a couple things you would like to do. you need to do is one, you need to confirm. It's not just signing up for this, you need to confirm your email. And then you want to whitelist us so we don't end up in your spam folder, so you don't miss out on important announcements that we're making about this program or other things that you're interested in. And then the other thing, just as a third one, is if you're liking this program, please let us know that you're liking it, what you liked about it, as well as what else would you like us to continue doing, because we love serving you in this way. And again, we welcome you to our community. But for now, we're going to sign off a little bit early today. So tomorrow, I can only say it's going to be a little bit longer, but it is going to be pretty comprehensive. So get your floor plans ready, get your goals ready, and don't forget to let me know what you're going to be working on. What's your launch going to be for next week? Because we really want to get some things stimulated into your business. That is the sole goal of why we're doing this, is to help you help yourself. Okay? Many blessings. We'll talk to you soon. Take care. Bye-bye.